How to practice subconscious mind power. The subconscious mind is the part of our brain where many of our unconscious, autopilot, decisions and impressions are made. Psychologists recognize the subconscious mind as a source of creativity, intuitive thoughts and feelings, inspiration, and spiritual awakening. Many people believe that it is possible for an individual to use his conscious mind to make changes in his subconscious mind, which may translate into observable changes in the life of that individual. Simply put, if you want to have more, whether it's money, job prospects, or other opportunities, you have to become more. Learning how to change the way you think and tap into the power of your subconscious mind may help you live a happier and more successful life. Part 1: Altering your conscious mind. 1. Identify learned, self-doubting thinking. Studies have shown that self-doubting or self-limiting thoughts affect your ability to perform well and achieve what you may already be capable of. In other words, if you have learned to doubt yourself, your abilities, and your chances of succeeding, then you may be setting yourself up for failure. It's important to remember that thinking poorly of yourself is not an accurate reflection of who you are, even though these socially learned behaviors and thought patterns begin to feel real over time. Anytime you find yourself thinking something negative about yourself or your abilities, take a step back and question where that thinking comes from. Ask yourself what proof you have that you will fail at the task at hand, and you'll quickly see that self-doubting thoughts do not have any foundation in reality. You'll never know if you can succeed or not unless you try. Think of it as an experiment. You cannot reach an accurate conclusion without first collecting data, and each situation requires its own set of data. 2. Think more positively. Simply put, the more you believe in yourself and your abilities, the more likely you are to continue trying and succeeding. Once you've silenced your self-doubting thoughts, you'll need to replace them with more constructive, useful thoughts. You can do this by acknowledging your talents and abilities, and by learning to accept the positive compliments from others. Recognize that everyone has strengths, talents, and abilities, including you. Identify areas that you can change, rather than dwelling on your faults or perceived weaknesses. Exercise positive self-talk. A good way to start thinking more positively is to refrain from saying anything to yourself that you would not say to another person. Anytime a negative thought enters your head, try to respond to it with an acknowledgement of something good about you. 3. Change the way you approach your goals. Before you attempt to tap into your subconscious mind's abilities, it may be worth changing the way you consciously think about your goals and aspirations. Even if you dream big, it's important to be realistic by setting manageable, achievable goals. The best goals are often called SMART goals: specific, measurable, achievable, results, focused, and time-bound. Specific: be clear and unambiguous with yourself about what it is you hope to accomplish. Measurable: make sure that your goal's outcome can be quantified. You want to know by the end that you've accomplished your goal. Achievable: don't set yourself up for failure by desiring a goal that cannot possibly be accomplished. Make sure your goal is something that you can reasonably achieve, given your current or soon-to-be acquired knowledge and skills. Results focused: make sure your goal has an endpoint, and isn't just an endless series of activities. Again, it's important to know that you've accomplished your goal at the end. Time-bound: your goal should be structured within a realistic timeframe. Your timeframe should be realistic enough to allow for the necessary work you'll have to put in, but also have some sense of urgency, like a self-imposed deadline, to prevent endless procrastination. An example of a SMART goal would be to work towards finishing a manuscript and submitting it to publishers by a self-imposed deadline, rather than simply hoping to get a book published and never finding the time to finish writing it. Part 2: Changing your subconscious mind. 1. Change your mind to change your world. Your unconscious mind can make a huge difference in your day-to-day happiness. If you started your day in a bad mood, there's a good chance your day went downhill pretty quickly. That's because your mind's unconscious thought patterns affected the way you interacted with the world, as well as the way you processed information and situations around you. Most daily events aren't explicitly good or bad, but if your unconscious mind has prompted you to be in a bad mood, you'll probably see those events as significant burdens. But the opposite is true, too. If your unconscious mind has set you up to be in a positive mood, you probably see even somewhat unpleasant events as mere inconveniences. 2. Break out of your old habits. The unconscious mind works largely through recognized patterns and habits in your everyday life. It's what allows your brain to go into autopilot while you drive to work or walk to the subway. Sometimes autopilot is a good thing. But if you're trying to tap into your subconscious brain's power, you may need to change up your routine a little every day. This may help prevent your subconscious mind from falling into the old ways of thinking that may have hampered your ability to succeed in the past. Even minor changes in your day-to-day routine can have a big impact in how you interact with the world around you. You'll force your subconscious mind to engage more with your environment, which is how you'll eventually train your mind to focus on and engage with your goals. Try taking a different route home once in a while, or changing up your at-home routine when you get home from work. Little changes like this can make a big difference in how your subconscious mind interacts with your surroundings. 3. Open yourself to new ways of thinking. Once you recognize how your subconscious mind affects the way you interact with the world, you'll eventually open yourself to new ways of thinking and feeling. It will take time and a lot of effort, but eventually you will be able to recognize when your brain is distorting a given situation and train yourself to stop forcing the world to fit your worldview. Once you can do this, you can continue to train your subconscious mind to affect real change in your life. As an example, perhaps you want to break into a new field of work, but you can't make any connections with employers. Rather than allowing yourself to be too intimidated to network with others who might be able to help you achieve your dreams, force yourself to talk to people. Get out of the house and go to networking events. This may open up new opportunities for you, and at the very least it will change the way you think about networking and pursuing job opportunities. Part 3. Making changes in your life. 1. Know what you want. It's not enough to have a vague idea of what you hope to accomplish. If you really want to tap into your subconscious mind's power, it's important to know in clear, precise terms what it is that you want. Your desired outcome should be unambiguous and as concise as possible. Rather than just hoping to be a world-famous author, devote yourself to writing one book. Make it the best book you could write, and devote yourself to finishing that project. It may help to make your desired outcome a sort of mantra that you can recite to yourself in order to stay on track. Anytime you start to doubt yourself or your abilities, simply recite the mantra to turn your attention back to your goal. 2. Refocus your energy. It's important to be aware of what you want, and it may be even more important to devote a significant portion of your emotional energy towards focusing on that goal. Once you know clearly what it is that you want, you'll need to imagine that goal and think about it as though it has already been achieved. Some experts suggest that your subconscious mind can only break out of problematic behaviors and thought patterns if you are passionate about your goal and devote a lot of time and energy thinking about your ability to achieve it. To continue with the example of publishing a book, imagine your book being in the hands of a reader, or picture your manuscript in the hands of an impressed publisher. Imagining your success may give you the confidence to perform better, no matter what field you're working in. 3. Work toward your goal. Changing your mind's way of thinking and focusing your energies on the outcome of your goal are both imperative steps, but they're only part of the equation. The other part requires you to work towards achieving your goal. Now that you've conquered your self-doubt and changed the way you think and interact with the world, you'll likely be more confident and sure of yourself, but you'll still need to work towards accomplishing whatever it is you've been dreaming of. As an example, instead of doubting that your book will ever get published, you've silenced your inner critic and developed a great deal of confidence. But now you need to actually write and revise your manuscript and submit it to a publisher. Without action, you're left with wishful thinking, which is important, but it's not enough unless it's combined with work and action. Tips: work hard, but also know what it is you're working towards. It's important to devote some time each day to thinking about what it is you want to accomplish, and imagining that outcome as a distinct reality. Warnings. Subconscious mind power is useful, but it does have its limits. You cannot wish yourself to be free from illness, for example, nor can you achieve your goals without actually working towards them. Subconscious mind power can help you accomplish your goals, but it is not a magical power.